Hi, welcome to Nasha's Art. This video will show you how to draw and label some Stone Age tools and weapons. I'm going to draw a diagram of 3 Stone Age weapons, starting with something called a hand axe. Now when we think of an axe, we usually think of an axe with a handle, but a hand axe is in fact a Paleolithic tool that was simply a specially curated or particularly chosen type of rock. Often it was flint or chert, and it was chosen for the fact that it had sharper areas to it that enabled Stone Age people to grind, chop, cut, slice, etc. Now, generally, in the Paleolithic era, people did not know about flint knapping. That is the process where you hit one rock against another and little sharp bits flake off, which makes the rock edge a lot sharper and better to use as a tool for, say, cutting or chopping. Paleolithic people didn't know about that and didn't use that technique, so they tended to rely on finding the right shape of rock. And once they did, then that would be used as a tool to cut, slice, grind, etc. So a hand axe in the Paleolithic era was a tool that did not have a wooden handle. It simply had a good pointed area at the base of the rock and a large top to it, which enabled one to hold it firmly in one's hand. So this is a hand axe, often made of flint or chert. The next weapon I'm going to show you is a Mesolithic axe. And this is nice because it will show you how the axe changed from Paleolithic times to the Middle Stone Age period. So I'm going to begin with the handle. A nice, strong, long handle. Now, Mesolithic people knew about fire, and they would have used fire to harden the wood for the handles of their tools. And that would have dried out the wood and would have really helped it to stay much stronger and become more durable. So that was quite an important change. In addition to that, Mesolithic people knew about flint knapping and were therefore able to knock or hit one rock against another and use the flaked shards as sharper tools. So the end of this would have actually had a more sharpened blade to it, and that would have been important. That's an important change from blunter hand axes to more sharper blades that could be used for chopping more effectively. The other thing that Mesolithic people knew about was how to use different plants to create string. So they would have tied or secured the head of the axe onto the handle by means of string. And the string was made of nettle, bast, or flax. These are all plants. They would strip the stems of the plants and they would dry it out and they would twist it to form long bits of string that they could secure things with. They also would have used tar, so sticky black tar, as a type of glue, or tree gum. Some trees emit a very sticky substance like sap that can be used as a kind of glue. So you can see here I'm drawing on the nettle or flax string that's securing this in place. The handle would have been made of various hardwoods. Yew wood is one such wood, but there are others as well. And the blade would have been made of one of 3 types of igneous or metamorphic rocks. It could have been made of obsidian, it could have been made of quartzite, and it could have also been made of granite. All quite hard rocks. The problem with flint is that although flint can be flint knapped and give you quite a sharp edge, as a Stone Age person, using flint to, say, chop down a tree, what would happen is, because flint is quite brittle, it would then break and your your axe would no longer work. So they had to use harder rocks such as these. So we could call this yew wood. It's a nice strong hard wood. It would have been hardened in the fire and dried out as well. And we've got nettle or flax or bast string. I'm now going to show you one of my favourite Neolithic, I should say weapon, but it's more of a tool. It's called a sickle, and I really like the shape of it, and I think it's so creative because it uses several different materials. A sickle is a tool used for cutting grain, like wheat or barley. And Neolithic people used a variety of materials put together to create this amazing tool, which kind of changed human life. So it's usually a curved tool, and this bit that goes into the handle was often made of deer antler. Now, the useful thing about deer antler is that you can often find curved sections of it, and they're quite strong. However, the fun bit is that inside the deer antler is attached some sharp and polished, almost like teeth, but they're not teeth. They're pieces of flint or obsidian that has been carefully polished and flint knapped into the shape that they want. And these, when scraped against, let's say this is the barley or the grain, and you take this tool and you cut it, it scrapes along it and slices the stems of the plant. This handle might need to be a little bit longer, so let's just make that a touch longer. There we are. The interesting thing about Neolithic weapons that can help you identify whether something is Neolithic is usually the fact that they are shiny. In other words, Neolithic people discovered that you can polish a stone, thus sharpening it and making it far more effective at doing the job you want it to do. So these little pieces of flint are highly polished and they are glued on to the deer antler with a layer of tar that keeps them in place. And it looks kind of black. They would have found tar in certain areas that would be a sort of lake of black sticky tar. In certain countries we still have them today. They're called pitch lakes or tar lakes. So this would have been tar, and these would have been obsidian or flint, but the important thing is that it was polished. Polished flint or obsidian. The handle is deer antler. And sometimes the very beginning might have been bone. So these are sort of darker colour, but shiny, because remember they're polished. And this is a lighter colour because it's made of bone. Other examples of what a sickle was made of was also the jawbone of a horse and sometimes bone. The great thing about the jawbone of an animal for a sickle is that a jawbone has a naturally curved shape, and the best thing about it is that it has a groove where the teeth would be. Now, if you remove the teeth and replace them with little sharpened stone teeth, you then have a great sickle shape. And a horse jawbone would be large enough to hold and cut those grasses efficiently. What's more, these little stone teeth that replace the actual teeth in the jawbone could be removed and re-sharpened whenever they got blunt, which is very clever really, and is something that we now do with knives. Is when the knife gets blunt, we sharpen it. Finally, some sickles had a string handle or leather cord bound to make it more comfortable to grip. So it would be leather or string on the handle. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Do check out my other Stone Age art tutorials as well as my work on Insta and Facebook at Nash Henkel Art.